Hi guys, editing Terry here, and I just wanted to pop in real quick before the interview with Kara and let you guys know there was a small issue with the audio on this recording. I sent it over to my audio engineer and he's cleaned it up very well, and for the most part you can hear it. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview and was just letting you guys know. And on with Kara. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm Terry, and today I have with me contemporary romance author Kara Kendrick. Hi Kara.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Kara has out two books now. You have Christmas in the Caymans and New Year's Renovations, and then a new series coming out this year. You want to give us an overview on your books?
Christmas in Cayman was actually part of a series called Hot for the Holidays, and I did that with a group of other authors. And the gist behind those is everyone was going to have like a holiday story that was in a tropical locale. So that series came out around Christmas, and so that's out. And then New Year's Renovations is actually part of my Man of the Month Club series. And so those books are released on the first of every month, and they are around the holiday that takes place in that month. And I teamed up with 11 different authors for that. And so the books drop on the first of every month, and then mine was New Year's. So I did New Year's Renovations, and it's out right now. And that book is actually a home renovation meet boyfriend-girlfriend situation. So I love that story, and it's a good series that I hope people will check out. And then my full-length books are going to be part of a small-town contemporary romance series set in Georgia. And the first book will be coming out probably late summer, early fall, and it is a football sports contemporary romance where the male main character actually coaches a Pee-wee football team, and that's a series that follows the men of that family called the McCullough family. And so the first book is about the younger brother, and the second book is about the older brother, and then the third book is going to be.
And you're trying. Is this your first series?
This will be the will be the first series that mine all myself. So the Man of the Month Club, I teamed up with 11 people because I wasn't sure that I'd be able to. Well, all this lockdown is going on, and my kids are homeschooling. So that's why I teamed up with other people so we could make sure to get those books out to everybody on time. But this whole series is going to be my first full series.
Is this writing something that you've always done, or is it something that you've newly started?
I newly started publishing. I've been writing probably fiction for about 7 years, but I was an English major, so I've dabbled in a lot of writing, written a lot of essays. And actually I did an editing internship because I thought for a while I wanted to be an editor. And I don't really like editing, it's just writing and stuff. So that's when I did it. So I started actually writing women's fiction, but it was more like contemporary chick lit kind of situation. So women's fiction usually tends to be like more serious, and chick lit's not really having a moment right now, although now it's kind of coming back as romantic comedy, although I'm not sure that it really fits under that umbrella either. So then I decided to take a turn and write romance. That is a little bit funny, not super angsty, but it is mostly about the characters and their personal journeys. That's actually a psychology major too, so I like to throw in a lot of psychology as well.
I actually, that was my undergraduate degree, is in psychology as well, and I find that apparently there's quite a few of us writers who majored in psychology, and I guess it's no wonder, right? We You like to see what makes people tick and, things. So as far as your writing, do you plot or are you a pantser? How do you go about it?
I'm actually a plotter, I would say, but I usually plot. I know the beginning of the book, and I know how it's going to end, and the middle is where actually like side characters tend to come in and mess with my plot, and different conflicts come in and mess with the plot. So I'm kind of in the middle, but I do start with a pretty solid, I'd say like 50% of the outline. And then the middle gets a little muddy, and then I know how it's going to end. Because it's romance. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it has to. Otherwise, you don't have a romance. So exactly. I call that kind of a planster, where you sort of are a plotter, and then you can't discovery write some of it. So
exactly. Actually, the second book in my series is following the older brother, and he was a character that just kind of came out of nowhere, and he's kind of a fan favorite of the people who read the book, and they're like, "Is he gonna get a book?" I'm like, "Yeah, he should get a book." And so that's actually how it became a series. I don't know.
That's always fun. I love those characters that you weren't thinking of, and suddenly they're like, "Here I am."
He ended up being like really integral to the plot, and the same can be said in the second book as well. So side characters are a big thing in my books.
That's a good way. So would you say that most of your ideas, do you get the character first, or does the story idea come first?
That is a good question. Probably 50-50, to be honest. So with the second book, actually, I thought it would be like so fast to write because I already had the character developed. But I don't know, they speak to you over time, and so they kind of have their own story. So I am really into characters, but the plot is pretty important. So 50-50. Usually I have a good conflict idea and then take it.
And has your process changed over time the more stories you have under your belt?
I don't know that I would say it's changed a lot. I kind of always start with a little bit of an idea. I kind of think about where my setting's going to be and come up with like a secret interest board and get ideas of what characters look like. Then I plot down. I actually use Gwen Hayes' Romancing the Beats to make sure that I hit all of those things. And I wish that I could sit down and plot the whole thing from beginning to end, but unfortunately that just is not happening because all of these other things come in. And you just don't really know where the story is going to go until you
write. I agree. That happens to me a lot. I don't know where it's going to go sometimes, but that's the fun part, I think.
I love when people ask me, so I can't wait to read the next thing and find out what's going to happen. I'm like, you and me both. I don't know either. So I know how it's going to be in the end, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to get there. So I actually use, my critique group, and my sisters actually read books with me, brainstorm together what would happen. I let them read the book, some parts of the book, not all. And sometimes they give me good ideas too.
What does your typical writing day look like?
Is that before COVID or after COVID?
How are you juggling it with COVID, I should ask?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I usually get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work out because I get a lot of good ideas working out. So I swim and think about what I'm going to write about. I come home and I try to write all that down before I forget it. And then I actually set my kids up on the computer because they're doing virtual school. And then I sit down and do some marketing, check my Facebook, and checking and do all that kind of stuff. And then I usually will spend probably an hour, hour and a half editing or writing. So when I write, I tend to go back and read what I wrote before, which I know some people say never do that, but I actually, by the time my book is finished, it's pretty much also edited. Because I usually go back and I reread what I wrote the day before, change things. So I might have to go in and add in more details, add in more I like cleaning up a little bit, so sometimes I do that. And usually have to make lunch for everybody and then get them back on school. And then once they're done with school, then I can sit down and really write 2 hours and then try to get back to Facebook, get back to Instagram and do all those fun marketing activities. And take edits, come back, and then I cook dinner, and then I do some more work. Then do it all over again the next day. That's what my day looks like.
That's a full day. And, I just think as long as your writing process works for you, I know, like you said, people say don't do that, but as long as it's working for you and you're moving forward in the story, then who cares, right? I mean, I think part of the deal is, can you move forward in the story? Because a lot of people get stuck there re-editing the same thing over and over again. And that's the trap that people warn against. But, I mean, as long as you go through it once and then you can still move on and get it done, then.
I think it helps with continuity to go back and read and see where I left off, because so much has happened in between when I stopped writing and when I'm picking it back up again that I kind of have to have a reminder of where I am. And also sometimes I usually chapter to chapter I send it off, so I let my sisters read it and then get their opinion and see if what I wrote worked and how they felt about it. Sometimes we change it, sometimes I don't. And then move on to the next part. So I usually do it chapter by chapter, and I write every chapter separately, and then at the end, put it all.
So what's your heat level on your stories?
It kind of depends. Christmas in Cayman probably was like a 4 out of 5. New Year's Renovations like 3.5 out of 5. So honestly, it depends on the characters. So my full length is probably like a 4, but the next book is like a 5. So it depends on the characters, to be honest.
And what was your next book is Rushing, right?
The first full-length book is called Rushing, and the second one is aptly titled Burning. So that character is a little spicier than his brother. So.
And do you have a series name for that one yet?
It's the Peachtree Grove Series. So it says small town, Georgia, and everybody knows everybody else, and some people like that, some people don't like that in the story. So there's a lot of push and pull there. So it's fun.
I find small town is a great place for romance and for series and for getting different people for the characters to come out for your series too. So I love small town romance. That's my first series is small town, and I'll probably keep writing small town for now as long as people want to read it.
Yeah, I like small town because you can put backstory in there without having to drop tons and tons of detail, because everybody knows everybody anyway. Something that really shows your character. So small town's good for me.
And so what is it that drew you to contemporary romance over any other genre?
I actually honestly have always liked contemporary. I like to read contemporary. One of my sisters loves historical fiction, and I'll read it sometimes. But like, I was an English major, so I've read the gamut of things, and I was always like, I think I just read contemporary things. So it's just, I like contemporary more. I don't know why, I really do. I try to keep a lot of stuff that will date my stories out of it, to be honest, so it's always contemporary. The romance novels that were really popular in like the 80s and 90s, there's some stuff in there that really dates them, so I try to keep that stuff out while grounding it in contemporary. But I like to address the issues of today and about characters that I can relate to without having to go and do lots of research.
So what's the hardest part of marketing for you?
I think growing an audience, because it feels like you are one little tiny drop in this ocean of people who've been doing this a lot longer than I have. So getting an audience is probably the hardest
Yeah, I agree with that. That is definitely. What does success mean for you?
I would really I want people to read my stories, and I want to get as many eyes on my stories as possible. So just having a lot of people read my books, I think would be successful. I love hearing from people that they like my books. I love hearing great character. I love the story. So just getting my books into the hands of readers and having them like it, to me, is success.
So where can readers find out more about you and your books?
They can check out my website, which is www.karakendrick.com. I have an author page also, which is author Kara Kendrick. One of the two. So that's my author page on Facebook, Instagram, also author, Twitter, same. I try to keep it all the same, so it's either author Kara Kendrick or Kara Kendrick author. But if you go to my website, you can find all of it because all the buttons are there, and you can just click. So I'm on Goodreads, BookBub, and as many people can follow me as possible would be amazing. So you can find out when my book comes out.
And I will have all of Kara's information in the description box below. So guys, be sure to check that out. Check out the books that Kara already has out, and follow her to find out when her series will be released later this year. And while you're down there in the description, be sure to click the like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for more author interviews. Thank you so much, Kara, for your interview today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It was I love talking about writing, and it was great to talk to you today.
Okay. And you guys, thanks for tuning in, and check us out next week when I upload a new author interview.